Hello and welcome back to the colony with ManOfTheAntz. So today we're going to be taking a quick look at Surviving Mars. And it's Green Planet because that's the newest DLC which has come out. But yes, Surviving Mars. So a week ago, I took a quick look at Frostpunk, which was an Arctic cold survival game. Kind of city builder, but yeah, mostly about surviving and doing horrible things to people, like putting children to slave labor and that sort of thing, which was great. And I put on the poll on that video saying, would you like to see more Frostpunk? Would you like to see Surviving Mars? What would you want to see? And it was pretty 50-50 really. Some people really wanted to see Frostpunk. Some people said I should take a look at Surviving Mars. And there was no clear winner. So here we are with Surviving Mars. So what I'll do is once this video is out and once it's had a week the same as Frostpunk has had as of tomorrow, obviously after I record this, I'll take a look at the views, the comments, the likes on the videos, that sort of thing, and just see which one does best, really. And whichever video does best, that was the one that will come a series. So if you liked Frostpunk but you didn't like the video, go back and drop a like on that video. If you want to see more Surviving Mars, drop a like on the video, and that's how I'll, going forward, that's what I'll do. If it's really close again, then I might just toss a coin and we'll see. Who knows? So I have played a little bit of Surviving Mars. It was part of the Xbox PC game package that I picked up, and I played a bit on there. I played a few hours of that and then loved it so much I picked it up from the Paradox website because it was on sale at the time as well, so which is why I have the full, like, all the DLC and everything like that. So I have played some, but we will go through a tutorial just so you guys can see what it's all about. Tutorials do take a little bit of time, so we'll probably just about do that, and before, we probably won't get to see a new game, but the tutorials will give you a good idea of what it's like. So we'll start off with the basics then, shall we? All very exciting. So yeah, Surviving Mars, as you could probably guess, is about surviving on Mars. And as you might have seen by the... Welcome to Mars, thank you very much. As you might have seen... Oh, I loved some of the music in this game. I forgot how much I love the music. Oh. This is I think this is one of the radio stations that are on the DLC, and I think it's this one that I absolutely loved. We'll find out when it goes on a bit. Yeah, so it's all about terraforming Mars. So you start off with nothing. You get hints like that throughout. There are camera controls, obviously. So this is how the game starts. You get this big grid here. You pick when you start a new game, you pick a site on Mars as well. I'm just distracted by the music jigging away. So, yeah, it's landing the rocket. So, you pick a square to go into. This one, we only have one square open to us. In the full new game, you can sort of pick a few others to search to find. As you can see, it says unexplored, and it tells you there's a high chance to contain concrete metals, that sort of thing. But we only have the one square for us, so that's where we're going to go. So we can zoom into that. So this is concrete down here. I haven't actually played with a mouse, so I'm a little bit confused with the controls. I actually played it with a controller, an Xbox 360 controller, weirdly. Why I actually started playing it on the Xbox PC game store, because well, that's an interesting formation. I quite like that. You could do some interesting things there. Yes, I was downstairs playing, and I only had the controller. I can't use I want to get to the... How do I get to the shuttle? Oh, there we go. Yeah, so it supports full PC controller support, which is brilliant for a survival game. So we're going to put it here. Obviously, in the full game, you can put it wherever you like, but that's where it's going to go for now. You can speed, or we can't speed time up at the moment. Oh, we can, but it's not 1 and 2. Wonder what it is. What's the shortcut? I don't know. Okay. So the rocket's landed. It drops out these little drones that you can see here. Wonderful, aren't they? Drones and resources. The rocket has landed on Mars. It carries drones, remotely controlled robots. Gathering basic resources for building construction is one of the first things our Martian base needs. So we're going to place a metal depot down. Depot? Wow, however you want to pronounce it. So that's going to be down here. It's in storage. We want a depot. We want a metal depot. So these black rocks here are metals. So where will I put it? I think I'll put it just underneath this. Not that it really matters too much, of course. And we can speed it up a bit, and you can see that the drones will automatically collect the stuff that's in the area. So they're going to go off and they're going to get some of that metal for us and put it onto the little metal depot. So there's other resources on the rocket as well. What do we have? We've got some polymers, electronics, and machine parts on there, but we need somewhere to put those as well, of course. So we should build a universal depot. I will put there. And then we need a concrete extractor. Concrete is one of the main resources you need for building buildings and stuff, I believe. So we'll need to build one of those. As you can see, they'll just go around, they'll unload the rocket, they'll gather metals, they'll pretty much just do a few things automated, unless there's something more important for them to do. For example, making a concrete extractor. So this is concrete here. We want to rotate this. What's rotate? Not that. R and T. So we'll pop that one down there. So now they'll take the resources from the universal depot, they'll move it to the concrete extractor, and then once all the resources are there, we need a couple more metal, it'll start building it. We're already on full speed, so we'll leave that going. So now it's being built, as you can see, look at that. 3 little drones working on it. It doesn't have any power though, does it? Like most buildings, the concrete extractor needs power in order to operate. It does indeed. Starling generators are excellent power sources, but are too complex to be built on Mars. So it's given us a generator prefab. So the prefabs, as it says, don't require any resources. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Not what I wanted at all. Where are we? So they don't require any resources. The little one there says that we've got a prefab for it, so we don't need to, it doesn't cost us anything apart from ongoing maintenance. As you can see, that says it takes 1 polymer in maintenance. So when it gets dirty enough, it will require a polymer. So we could put this anywhere and we'd have to cable it up to the concrete extractor, but for now, I'm just going to put it right next to the concrete extractor, I think, just to make life easy, and then we won't need to cable it, because I'm lazy. Although it's definitely going to make us build some other things. We will need to do some cabling at some point very soon. So the concrete extractor also generates waste rock as well as generating concrete, obviously. So we need to designate a site to place some waste rock. So we shall do that. Or wants us to do the concrete depot first. We'll put that close to the concrete extractor because, in fact, we'll do it behind the Starling generator there. Because then it hasn't got to go far, has it? And we also need a dumping site. Which looks like we can't do the large one yet, which is significantly bigger. So we'll just stick with the small one. We'll put it right next to it again so it doesn't have to move far. Drones and drone hubs. So drones will pick tasks, pending tasks on their own within range of drone controllers they are assigned to. Currently, all the drones are assigned to the rocket. When the rocket is selected, the work range of the drones assigned to it will be visualized. You'll see the circle, the area it can control. If the rocket takes off, of course, though, nothing controls the drones anymore. They just go dead. So there's this grid here, this hexagon? Maybe? Oh god, I don't know. That's the area. So we can put anything, if we build anything in here, the drones that are controlled by the rocket will do that. But obviously we need to build a drone hub so we can get rid of the rocket at some point. So we're going to pop down here and we have got a drone hub here. Well, I am going to change the music. I do love the music, but how do I change the music when I'm... Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I might just turn it down a little bit for now. How do you... There is a way of changing the music. No, don't return to Earth. I just find it a little bit distracting. I love the music, but it's a bit distracting right now. Oh, there it is. So we just put on Surviving Mars. There we go. We've turned the volume up a little bit now. So that's a default radio station. Right, what were we doing? Drone hub. Yeah, I got distracted. Again, it's a prefab, so it costs us nothing to build it, but it uses 1 electronic to maintain it. So where are we going to put this? We put it right next to the Starling generator again, so we don't need any more. It's not the... Obviously, this isn't how you'd want to build it going forward, like if it was a full game, but just for ease, so we've not got to cable anything up, we'll put the drone there.
Drones run on batteries.
So the drones have to be recharged, so they can recharge here. So this little pad here is a recharge station, so the drones will recharge there if they need to. But we're going to build an extra one. And we're going to put it next to the concrete extractor. It needs to be charged, it needs power as well, but if you put it next to something which has power, it'll automatically siphon the power from there without a cable. So we'll pop it just there. It's a silly place to put it really, but it'll do for now. And connect it to the power grid as it says, but it's kind of connected automatically. So maintaining a steady supply chain between Earth and Mars is essential.
Colonization stages.
Every rocket has enough fuel for a one-way trip and has to be refueled on site, and you need to build a refinery even. So you can see here there's this little cable just pop, pop. So they're showing you that it is connected. So we need to build a fuel refinery and a moisture evaporator. So moisture evaporator obviously just creates moisture. It does exactly what it says on the tin. We've put ourselves in a bit of a... Oh, I suppose we haven't. We can come off the concrete thing, can't we? So we'll pop that one down there. Again, it has to be within range of the drone controller, the drone hub, otherwise nothing can get to it, which would be terrible. So this needs power, which we'll get to in a moment. We also need to build the refinery. So we'll pop the refinery fairly close to the water, and you'll see why momentarily. And we need to cable these up now. So we need to go into power, we need power cables. So if we do that, and then that. Perfect. So they're now connected up. We now need to, though, of course, connect up the water. And is that Stirling generator going to be enough, I wonder? Did you know you can open the build menu with the right mouse button? I didn't, because I haven't played with the mouse before, so it's all new to me. So yes, we need to... Where is it? It's not been that long since I've played. I thought it was in life support. Obviously not. Production? Oh, it's not letting me do it yet. That's the thing. I need pipes. I need pipes, but I can't do it at the moment. Why? Oh, that one doesn't have power, which is reasonable. I thought I built it close enough, but obviously not. So there we go. That'll connect that up. Why doesn't that have power? Insufficient power. Right, cool. Of course, because we've only got one Stirling generator up here, which produces 10 power. And the concrete extractor takes 5. This takes 5. This takes 5. And this takes 3. So, yes, you can see up here as well, we're on -9 power, so we are way under. So let's build another Stirling generator. I'll just pop it just down here for now. And now, it's telling us we don't have pipes here. Is it going to let me build pipes now? It's not quite yet. We'll wait for that to be built. And then it'll tell us we need to build pipes. There we go. So all oxygen and water needs to be connected via pipes. So we need to connect these two together so the water from here can make its way to the fuel refinery. Otherwise, it's useless. And the pipes connect up to these little spots here. So that's why I put them close to each other, so they could connect up nice and easy. So the drones are going to come along and they're going to build that for us, which is going to be great.
Fuel production is now
underway.
Will begin to deliver the fuel to the rocket.
So normally a rocket takes 50 fuel, which is obviously quite a lot. How much does this produce? Does it tell us somewhere? 12 fuel per sol. So we're on sol 3 already, because we've been speeding time up, so we're on sol 4 now. So every day it will produce 12 fuel even. And this normally takes 50 to reload. So as you can imagine, it takes a few days to get a rocket ready to go. So you normally want a couple of fuel refineries. How is it doing for fuel, the rocket? And what are we up to? It's currently got none. Oh, there's the first one going now, look. Off he goes. And that should now go... Oh, he actually carried 2. And there's another one there already as well. It's stored in... So it's almost got another one as well. So that should be up to 3 now. It is up to 3. There's 4. And here is the final fuel coming in now. Up to 5. Perfect. So we can now launch that back to Earth. Currently it's carrying nothing. What you ideally want to do is you want to load the rockets up with... what are they called? Some sort of precious metal. I can't remember what it's called now. The name escapes me. But yes, you want to load rockets up with that so you can make some money. We've got 4 billion at the moment here. But yeah, so it's going... Oh, there it is. It's going to tell us what it is. It's this one. Where is it? Rare metals, that's what it is, rare metals. Otherwise, we're just sending it back for the sake of it. But then when it goes back, we can use it to bring back more stuff, of course. So off it goes. What you might have noticed is that it's kicking off a whole bunch of dust when it takes off and lands. And that does affect these buildings. You could see there,
You have finished the first.
the drone hub got a bit dusty, and it's the dust that causes the buildings to need maintenance. So you don't want to land the rocket too near to buildings.
With one of your most valuable tools.
So today we're going to get acquainted with rovers. So these are vehicles with a variety of useful functions like transporting resources, commanding drones, and analyzing anomalies. Great. So we have our base pre-built here. So we've got some solar panels, we've got a battery, we've got a Stirling generator, a fuel refinery, a water storage tank, concrete extractor, water vaporizer, and a drone hub. And then a really full universal depot, a pretty full fuel hub, and a pretty full concrete thing as well. So it's all looking really good. So these are our drones then. So we've got an RC transport. That does exactly what it says.
Try moving around.
It transports goods.
The RC transport can load and carry resources around the map.
So we're going to use it to load the rocket with fuel. Well, we're going to move the fuel so the drones can load it easier. So that's actually what we're going to do. Drones can also take resources directly from the RC transport if they need them. However, unloading the resources is quicker and it frees it up for other tasks, of course. Which makes a lot of sense. So we're going to say go over here and load up on fuel. then we can zoom in and we can see it going just like that. Perfect.
Now order the RC transport to
And so the reason we have to move the fuel over there, of course, is because the drones assigned to the rocket, they can't reach any of the stuff here, and the drone hub can't reach the rocket. So it's a really poorly thought out landing spot for the rocket, if I'm being honest. You don't want the rocket so far away that you can't easily load it up. Oh, that's not what we wanted. So we want our RC transport. We want it to unload its resources over here. I was trying to see, oh there, the follow camera, that's what I wanted. So it's unloading the fuel, the drones are picking the fuel up and throwing it straight in the rocket, look. Perfect. So this one takes 30 fuel. And then once it is full up, we're going to launch it. And this can carry, coincidentally, 30 things. So it carried 30 fuel over, which is why they've obviously put this on 30. And it does take a little while because there's only, what, 3 or 4 drones there? 4 drones we've got assigned to the rocket. So a few trips for them to get it done. So the rocket is done. It is off. We will launch it. Off it goes. And it's made everything very dusty. Look, and these are now orphaned. They don't have a drone commander. There we go. If drones lose their controller, they will look for new controllers nearby. However, when there are no controllers, you'll have to manually reassign them. The reassign command also allows you to reassign drones to understaffed controllers with heavy drone load. So we're going to reassign these. So we're going to click on it, which I did. Oh, I want to select all of them. Right. There we go. And then we're going to reassign them with this button here. And we're going to say assign to that drone hub. And they'll make their way across and then they'll automatically do whatever they need to. So the RC transport can also gather materials, which is actually really useful. When you first start off and you've only got a few materials around here, particularly metals and that sort of thing, or mainly metals, I should say. The drones, get there in the end, they'll collect the metal that's already around. So this stuff here, they'll go and collect that, but that doesn't last for very long. So you do need to use your RC transport sometimes to come over here and gather directly from some metal, which is what this guy's going to do now. And you can actually set up, which one is it? A transport route. So you can tell him, you can say, come over here and gather stuff, and then go and drop it over near the Universal Depot, and he'll just do the whole, everything that's around it, he'll do it automatically. So you haven't got to keep on keeping on, essentially.
Let's set up a small expand some distance away from the main base.
That sounds reasonable. We will need resources for the new base. The RC transport can be ordered to transfer a large amount of resources and multiple goals via the create transport route command, which I just talked to you about. So we're going to do that. We're going to create a transport route. The Universal Depot is going to be the starting point of the route. So he's going to come over here. And he's going to collect everything. And then, the area above, oh, he's going to bring it up here. And this has got some rare metals, look.
Nice work.
So he will now go over here. He will take everything from here and dump it here. And he'll keep doing that until there's nothing left to do. So we've already sped up time. So let's just watch the little dude go, shall we? Our dirty little transporter. Look at him, he's filthy. Just running over the drones, he doesn't care. He's a renegade, this dude. He'll do whatever he wants. And he's going to collect some of that as well, is he? Oh no, he's just dropping it all there. It just happens to be right on the metals. So these are just temporary little depot areas. If you don't have a universal depot there, he'll just do whatever he wants. So the RC commander is a different kind of drone. It has its own drones. It's a different kind of RC, I should say. It's its own drone hub. So you don't have to have drone hubs everywhere. If you're doing something temporarily or if you're getting something set up, a little RC commander will do it for you. So if we select the RC commander, as you can see, he's got 4 drones assigned to him. He's going to come over here. Is he coming over here? He is not. Come over here. Is it the wrong button? I was pressing the wrong button. That's reasonable. That makes sense. So off he goes now. And there's the transporter bringing more goods up. Look.
We need to construct a new sensor tower to scan the nearby.
So that's what we're going to build. Quite a lot of times you'll build sensor towers. Make it. You know when I said that usually when you start a new, I can't get to the world map. I don't think, can I? Oh, I can, yes. So when you start the game, you can scan some areas to see what it is. Well, the sensor towers make it cheaper, and you can do something, a different sort of scanning as well, but they make it cheaper to do the scan, or they make it faster, I should say, sorry, I think. Yes, you can set up automatic scanning. So it says I can add it to queue. So yes, it'll automatically scan things if you queue them up. And the sensor towers make it take less time to complete, which is very useful. And there's a couple of other things that are useful for us. So we need a sensor tower and a Stirling generator. So we should build a sensor tower right there. And we need a Stirling generator, which is not going to let us do until... Oh, no, we can do that. And we should pop that right next to it, so we haven't got to cable it up. So these 4 drones will gather the materials automatically. They'll drop them right in place. We have a building not working because it's not connected to the power, obviously. And there it is. Cha-ching. Oh, it's going to go into that. Okay, you can scan new sectors to discover more resource deposits and anomalies. This is done from the map overview. So this rare metal resource and the water resources, that sort of thing, you'll only see those once you scan the sector.
Scan sectors of the map to discover new resources and anomalies.
We'll get to anomalies shortly, I'm sure. So there are 2 ways to scan. One is to queue sectors for scanning. These sectors will be scanned one by one gradually over time, and sensor towers speed up the scanning process. The other way is to use probes, which are expensive, but you can buy them and bring them on resupply rockets. So the rockets that we send off, we can resupply and bring back. So for now, though, we've got orbital probes, so it's a nice, easy, free scan, or at least it takes no time. It's not necessarily free. You have to pay for them.
You can also queue sectors for scanning.
So that has found us some metals and has a large amount of buildable area. Obviously a little bit is taken off by this crater over here. So over here we can add this to the queue. And you can see it started scanning now. And it'll be a bit quicker because it's adjacent to that sensor tower. So there's a 352% sensor tower boost. That's not bad. And this should have some concrete and some metals. At the moment it looks very bare and barren. There's nothing really there. But once that's finished, then we shall see some stuff there, hopefully.
Well,
and it's done. There we go.
Now it's time to use our fully operational RC Explorer to analyze the anomaly.
Yes, indeed. So, anomalies give you all sorts of little special benefits and awesome things. Sometimes resources, sometimes weird little things happen. They're worth doing. It's something you really need to focus on in the early game, really. So,
Anomaly found.
We're going to take our Explorer. The Explorers are only good for anomalies as far as I'm aware. I don't think they do anything else apart from scan anomalies. So he's going to come over here and he's going to scan this anomaly for us. And we're going to follow him as he goes. Oh, was there anything else it found in this area? No, just that. No concrete. Interesting. Interesting. So he's going to scan that. That shouldn't take too long. Nah, it's going up quite nicely, look. Normally the trip there can be a bit more problematic. Sometimes you'll find anomalies in areas that you can't get to. This map's fairly flat, but you do have maps at different levels of terrain, so you can't get to it necessarily.
Insights into new technologies.
So research then. Researching new technologies unlocks new options for the colony, such as new buildings, domes, and upgrades. Anomalies often provide bonuses to research, such as unlocking new technologies for research or providing research points. Research is super important. This is the research screen.
You can choose and queue techs for research.
So the techs are divided into 5 basic fields and a field for special breakthrough technologies, which are usually amazing. When you research a tech from a given basic field, you will unlock a new tech in that field. Breakthrough techs are special, unique techs that are unlocked via anomalies. Queue at least 1 technology for research. So yes, so if I research this biotech here, which is already 29% research, weirdly. Oh, so we're not going to do that. We're going to do this one. You research this and it'll unlock the next one in the queue. I believe there are 30 in this or something like that. And maybe more than that, couldn't quite see that. And they're grouped into 3 different tiers, and then they're randomized in the order you will get them. So let's say there's 30, and you get 10 in each tier. So you have 10 things in the first tier, and you might want something which doesn't come up until you got to the 10th. Adds a little bit of suspense to the game. So we're going to go for the biotech because that's already 29% done. So each tech has a cost in research points which are generated in various ways. Your sponsor provides some research points to start with. You choose your sponsor when you start a new game. So we can have a look at that if we come back to the game, of course. Once colonists arrive, you'll be able to construct research labs which generate research points faster. Because, of course, you do bring people to Mars not too far into the game, really. The robots are there to get you started, the RCs and the drones. But after that, you can build domes and colonists come and you have to look after your colonists. And then there are certain things only colonists can do. And one of those things is a research lab. And then the colonists work in the research lab, which generates research points. You can view a breakdown of the research points generated on the right side of the research screen. So over here, we have 100 research from our sponsor and nothing else. Nothing else for us. And it says up there as well what our research is. So that's rovers, and we'll now do... Oh, look at that beautiful shot. So yes, as I said, the Green Planet DLC is out, and you can make amazing looking terrain. It is your job to fix it up and prepare it for the first colonists. In this tutorial, we'll learn how to handle power, life support grids, and building maintenance, as well as constructing your first dome, which I just mentioned. It's almost like I know that's coming, but I don't. It's just coincidence.
Let's remove some unnecessary structures.
So yes, the resources are not infinite. So when you put down a concrete extractor, or if you put down a water extractor to get to this water here, there's only so much water. And when it runs out, this building is sat here doing nothing. It's just hoovering up power. I say it's hoovering up power. This isn't actually connected to the power grid. So it's kind of, I don't know how it would work anyway. But we're going to get rid of it. So we're going to hit salvage. And at the start of the game, you can salvage the building. We need to supply the drone hub with power. The resources from the salvaged concrete extractor should be enough to construct a solar panel. Best use the existing power cables to connect the two buildings to avoid wasting more metals on cables. Perfect. So yes, so you can salvage the building to get some resources from it, but you cannot necessarily get rid of the building until you've researched that technology. Quite why that's an actual technology, I'm not sure, but it is. But yeah, so that will live there now until we can get rid of it permanently. So we need to build a solar panel to get this going. I don't know why we just don't cable up those ones, because there are two perfectly good solar... Oh, they've been salvaged. The ruins. Of course, because there was a dust storm which broke stuff, wasn't there? That's why it's in this state. So we're going to put a solar panel there. It's automatically connected to this cable. And then that is connected to the drone hub and to the water or the moisture evaporator. And the fuel refinery as well. It's obviously all very important. I do need to figure out if there is a shortcut to... Oh, we can just do plus and minus. Perfect. So what else have we got? We've got an RC commander, but all of his drones are in range of all this stuff, so he'll get involved if he needs to. In fact, he's the one that's doing the work, of course, isn't he? Because it doesn't have any power.
But it's not enough. You should prioritize the drone hub.
Yeah, so we are on -8 power still, because we have one solar panel, but nothing else. So these things here... also connected to the same grid, also taking power from this. So we can set the priority of the drone hub to be higher, so it will get the power first. And then if there's enough power available, it will then go to the other buildings. We can build a wind turbine. They're a good alternative to solar panels as they operate day and night. They also get bonus power production if built on high ground. However, they have a high upkeep cost and require maintenance more often than solar panels. So it seems like a really good idea to go for wind turbines just because of the day-night thing. But yes, this maintenance thing can really start stinging. So this only takes 1 metal for maintenance. The wind turbines, on the other hand, take half a machine part. And they need it more often. And machine parts, you can bring them from Earth on resupply rockets, or it's something you need colonists to bring to build for you, to make for you in factories. We currently have no machine parts, so that's why these are actually a little bit costly. So it seems like a good idea, but it might not necessarily be a good idea. Oh, look at him go. Waving his little drone arms around.
There won't be enough electricity to power the base, especially during the night.
So, as we said, solar panels obviously produce power only during the day, and we don't have accumulators to compensate at night, which is a battery is what that is, basically. You can set some of the base buildings to automatically turn off at night using the building's shifts. There is the first shift, the second shift, and night shift. Buildings will require power, resource, and workers only during their active shifts. So if you mainly used solar panels, maybe a couple of wind turbines for backup, then you can set some buildings so that they are only on during the day. So morning, afternoon, and night. So if we turn off the night,
You managed to get things operational, but this won't last.
then they will work during the day, but then they won't complain at night that there isn't enough power. They just won't work. So buildings require maintenance or resources roughly every 6 or 7 sols. Buildings that don't get maintenance and break won't function until it's repaired. We have simulated a breakdown of your solar panel. So over here you can see that it is broken. It needs maintenance. It has reached critical mass. So this little dude here, he's bringing over the 1 metal it needs. And look at him go. Isn't he cool? Isn't he cool?
4 metals to secure this base. Use the RC transport to collect some metals and transport them back.
So we need to use the RC transport to get some metals. We need to bring it over here. Will it let me do this? So load metals and then unload metals over here next to the thing there. Is that not close enough? Oh, it'll do it. That's fine. So we have low metals and low power currently. And this hopefully shouldn't take too long. So no, it should only be 1 trip. How do I slow? I'm on him. That's why. So yeah, 6, 7. Yeah, it won't take too bad. And a Martian day consists of nearly 25 Earth hours. Nearly. So this building isn't working because it doesn't have enough power still. So it's still on -3, which is why we need this extra metal. So here he comes then, he's bringing in the metal for us now, look wonderful. So he's going to drop that straight onto this metal depot over here. We need more than just metals. Fortunately, we can call a resupply rocket from Earth. Using rockets to resupply from Earth is the best way to secure resources early on. You'll need funding to buy the resources, but your sponsor usually provides you with enough to get a basic colony up and running. And after that, as I said, you need the rare metals, which we don't have any of at the moment, to make more money. So he's going to go off, he's just going to carry on collecting metals for us, which is going to be great. So we can come to our resupply screen. We have 9 billion currently. Obviously there are passenger rockets, but we don't have any passengers. We don't have anywhere to put them at the moment. So this is all the stuff you can get from the resupply rockets. You can get prefab buildings, so you don't need to use resources to create them. So if you want to just stick on like a couple of drone hubs and whatever, you can do that. And then it doesn't cost anything to make them, which is obviously very useful. And then you can get RCs and all of these bits and bobs as well, which is obviously very useful. So we want some 20 polymers. Too much. Machine parts. And electronics. And that's going to cost us... To show us how much it costs us, that's how much money we've got left, isn't it? So it's going to leave us with 8 billion. It's going to cost us, what, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, it's about 1 billion, isn't it? Of course, we had about 9. And it's not using all the capacity either. Normally, you'd want to fill the rocket up. The time it takes to get there, you may as well fill it up. Otherwise, it's just sort of a waste of a rocket.
Around the base while we wait for the rocket to arrive.
So we can clean up some of these buildings. The remains of destroyed or salvaged buildings will obstruct other constructions. To clear the ruins, you need to research decommission protocol, as I said. For the purposes of this, we've already got research protocol done. So you can come over here and you can say demolish that building entirely. And then we can do the same with these solar panels as well. So now these little drones are going over there and they're going to get rid of that.
Unnecessary cables.
Cables you can get rid of as well. They're a little bit easier. You don't need to have any sort of technology to do that. You just need this little salvage button over here. And we'll get rid of that little button as well. And there we go. And I suppose there are also these cables over here that we should get rid of. Just to really tidy it up. So we're waiting for the rocket. It's nearly here. That's pretty quick, wasn't it? And then we're going to land this somewhere. So this area around it, this white hexagon. I'm going to carry on saying hexagon. The hexagon's 8, isn't it? Yeah, hex is 8. I don't know what it's called. That's terrible. I really can't think. Feel free to not tell me in the comments how stupid I am. So yes, so this can go anywhere over here if we want it to, but if we put it there, for example, that moisture evaporator and the wind turbine will get very dusty and they will need more maintenance, which we don't really want. The other thing you want to do is make sure that it's within range of the drone hub. Otherwise, you're going to be in trouble. So we'll put it here, so it's not going to make anything dusty. And it's in range of everything. So we can click that and it'll just show us, yeah, way in range. Look, that's brilliant. And then we get to see the rocket come down. I was trying to slow down time, but it's not 1 and 2.
The supplies from Earth have arrived, and we can use them to expand the base.
So as I said, you can build batteries, or as they call them, accumulators. You may want to construct some additional solar panels and wind turbines in advance to sustain the base expansion. So, batteries are good for 2 things. 1, they are very good for nighttime. If you have a main solar panel power source, then they're good at nighttime because they'll keep some charge, and obviously it can be used during the night for these little buildings over here, and then the solar panels will charge them up during the day if you have spare capacity, which we currently don't.
There is a water deposit nearby.
Let us build a water extractor near the deposit. All extractors must be placed near a deposit of the corresponding type. Remember to connect them to power. And also for the water, it obviously needs to be connected to a water pipe as well.
To construct a water extractor near the water deposit. Then power it up.
Will do. Currently, though, we don't have enough power, so we're not going to build that quite yet. We're going to build some more power sources. Because otherwise, we're going to be a bit stuck, aren't we? And this building isn't even working because it doesn't have enough power, and the battery isn't going to charge because there's no excess power. So it's an absolute waste of time at the moment. So what we'll probably do is just build... Wrong building. Oh, we literally have to build that first, do we? All right. So this, as you can see, also has its own little white area where things in this range of that will get dirty again, and they will require more maintenance. So you can put multiple extractors around a resource, but then obviously there's a good chance they will get dirty and require more maintenance. And as you can see, if you move it too far away, well, that's actually just outside the range of everything. If we put it down like here, oh, it still says too far. But yes, it says too far because it requires a deposit. Oh no, too far from this target location because it's the tutorial. If we put it here, it requires a deposit, so we can't put it there. It isn't close enough to the water to actually function. So we're going to put it there. Hopefully now it'll let us build some power. So I was going to build 1 more solar, and then we'll build an extra wind turbine as well. We'll pop that just down there next to the existing cables. We haven't got to worry about those. We do need to connect this to a cable, so let's do that. In fact, we don't need to connect it to a cable. We can connect it to the wind turbine. So we'll connect that there. And then we need to pipe it up. It's actually in a silly place for pipe, and I should have rotated it so the pipes were facing upwards.
The extractor is ready, but we don't have a storage for the water it will extract.
Because we are going to be producing excess water, I guess, with this. So we will need water for domes, farming, and polymer production, but we don't have any of that, so we can store some excess water. Similar to the batteries, this is good if there's an emergency. So if you have a situation where, you know, your water extractors break, if there's a dust storm, if get hit by a meteorite, that can happen as well. I might put that one, let's put that one there. So that is now connected to that. And then we need to connect. Is it going to make us? It might not need us. Might not need to connect up to that. No.
Time has finally come to build the first dome that will house our colonists.
So domes are large superstructures that house colonists. You can construct many buildings inside domes. Some of them will require colonists as a workforce, and domes have limited space that can be connected via passages to form larger systems. There is a penalty for using passages, though. That being said, remember to use the RC transport to mine metals and to core resupply rockets if you need advanced resources to finish the dome. So we need to construct a basic dome right there. So you need a dome for people to live in because obviously, how much do we need? We need 80 concrete, 20 metal, 10 polymers. We're all fine. Obviously, the atmosphere is terrible. You cannot just bring people to Mars and say live in a building because they've got no atmosphere to live in. Obviously. So you need to build them domes to live in. In the late game, when with the terraforming DLC, now you can terraform the atmosphere so it is breathable, which is obviously amazing. But yes, that is late game stuff and obviously not part of this tutorial. So all of these drones are now going to go to work. I'm going to move this guy closer to the dome. In fact, if we just move him there, well, still not quite. I wanted him in range of that concrete still. What I could do, if I can remember, how would I get there from this? Not ManOfTheAntz, no, not research. Command center. And then... What I wanted... There's a menu somewhere where you can reassign the drones. Don't know where I do that now, though. Oh, it's here, look. So we can take away the drones from... Oh, we can't, because that's already full. So, in fact, we can't do that. I was going to take them away from the RC rover and give them to the drone hub. But it is currently locked at a certain amount. We can't do that. So, if we just move this guy closer to the... The drone hub will have to do the concrete, and then this guy can at least help create the dome. So you can take stuff from the Universal Depot over there and bring them over. Oh, didn't want to move him. And this is probably... Oh, it's not fuel, actually. That is a lower priority than the building of the dome, I guess. In fact, we might even just drop that to a lower priority to make sure that goes faster. So the dome, if we take a quick look at the building menu... 15 power it needs, 1 oxygen and 1 water. So we're fine for water, but it is going to need more power than we currently have. We only have 3 spare power. So, that is, of course, because it is the night. So this battery here has some charge, 108 stored power, but that is going to be decreasing because I don't think the turbines are enough to power everything as it currently stands. So, shall we build some more power? Because what do these produce? They produce 5, so we only get 10, so it's only 13, so we do need some more power. We'll go with the wind turbine for now, just because it's the easier option. We are going to need to pipe up the dome. We can just do that one there, nice and easy. So it has water, but it does, as we said, need oxygen as well, which we don't currently have. So the water tower is full. We've got full water in there. So that'll just store that now in case it is ever needed. This will carry on. Does it? I don't suppose it will produce the water. Well, it's not going to produce water if there's no need for it. Yeah, no, water production is down to 0 because there's nothing to give water to. So we have 9 spare power. So we do need more power still. So let's just build some more wind turbines for now, shall we?
But we have to supply it with water, power, and oxygen.
Yes, indeed.
Before we can use it.
So we can connect the dome to the existing power and water infrastructure. For oxygen, we need to construct a MOXIE, a device that extracts oxygen from the carbon dioxide in the Martian atmosphere. Once it is ready and powered up, connected to the dome with pipes. So it does use the same pipes as the water network, which is nice. It makes it slightly easier. Can't build any more power till we do this, so let's do this first. Now again, you'd normally want to put this in a slightly sensible position, but we're not. We're going to just stick it there. And then it just should hopefully automatically connect. And then we need to make some more of these wind turbines. And we need to power the MOXIE as well, of course. So let's make some more wind turbines. And there's no point in really doing much more solar panel, I don't think. Because, yeah, that's charging up fully each day anyway. And of course, this doesn't have electric, does it? So we do need, because although it's right next to the water tower, the water tower doesn't require electric. So it doesn't forward electric on to the MOXIE. So for this, we can just pop this over here. And it'll just siphon some power from the water extractor, which is all good.
Resources are low.
So what do we have now then? It is still low on power. Why is it low on power? Oh, because I haven't connected it to the power grid. I suppose no, shouldn't that be connecting it to the power grid? I would have thought it would, but obviously not. So I suppose there is that little space there, isn't there? There we go. So we'll just pop a single little cable in the middle there, and that'll be enough. So the problem with this is all very efficient, but it is obviously
Simulation successfully.
a bit of a chain. So if one thing in that chain fails, like if we lose that water tower, there's no water going to the dome. Or if we lose the MOXIE, even more importantly, for starters, there's no oxygen storage, so they have no oxygen.
You will finally familiarize familiarize yourself with the challenges of sustaining a society on Mars.
Which is very exciting. Yes, there'll be no oxygen, and also because it's the link for power and water to the dome, it'll just have nothing. So here we have a dome, we've got lots of power, we've got loads of batteries.
For bringing your first colonists have already been laid down. One of the final things left to do is to provide the founders with living space.
Obviously very important. So living complexes are built inside the dome, unsurprisingly, and space within the dome is limited, so each building has to be planned very carefully. So, in the build menu, in the domes, we've got this living complex here. We do have other options as well available to us. So we will build a living complex. Oh, let's pop back to that a second. Have a quick look. Oh, we can't see it now. And we can't see how much stuff it's got either. I was going to show you how much. I think they can store 12 people, I think it is. So what have we got? We've got a water extractor. We've got a fuel refinery. We've got 2 water storage towers. We've got a Moxie. We've got an oxygen tank. Water vaporator. Or vaporator, sorry. 4 batteries.
Operations complete. Colony is ready for the arrival of the founders.
Oh, look at them. Look. Aren't they so happy? Drone hub, which obviously nicely covers everything. And yes, everything's cabled up nicely. No concrete extractor, but we do have a fair bit of concrete in store. Anyway, so over to the rocket screen, the resupply screen, which we don't want a cargo rocket, we want a passenger rocket.
You can inspect all available applicants and determine which ones will travel to the colony.
So colonists are organized by their age, specialization, and various traits. You can set desired and undesired traits in every category using the thumbs up and thumbs down. Colonists with more of the desired traits will board the rocket, while colonists with any of the desired traits will be rejected. So a bit of an and/or sort of situation going on.
Individual candidates for the founders.
By highlighting individual applicants one by one, you can view their perks and flaws. It may be a good idea to do this for the founders in order to get an exact number of specialists you desire, as well as handpick the traits of these colonists. So as you can see, we have specializations for these. So scientists work very well in research labs. Forgot what I was talking about for a second. Has decreased comfort when living near a ranch and won't work in such buildings. Has increased comfort when away from ranches. So if you're not going to use ranches, if you're going to use farms, that's actually not a bad trait to have, is it? What other? We have botanists work very well in farms. We've got medics work very well in first aid places, obviously. And then no specialization at all means they don't have any penalties for working somewhere that they're not a specialist in, but they obviously have no bonus for working somewhere that they might have a specialization in, if you see what I mean. And obviously we have these traits as well. So what we can do is we can filter this. So age group wise, we've said no children and no seniors, which makes a lot of sense. I'm actually going to say no middle-aged as well, because we want our founders to last a while, don't we? So we're going to see if we can get enough from that. Ideally, we would have no flaws. So if we do that, how many people does that leave us with? Or did I not apply that? That means I didn't apply that one either, does it? Oh no, we did apply that. And I did do the flaws as well. So we have quirks as well. Also, that's the vegans and the tourists. Obviously, we don't want tourists. I don't really mind if they're vegan necessarily, because it's not going to matter for this particular tutorial level. And you can focus on specializations as well, and sexes if you need them, if you have an unbalanced thing. So we still have 27 applicants. So these should have no flaws whatsoever, which is great. So they do have some perks as well. So Gigandi is sexy, so has a greatly increased birth rate. That's actually pretty good for the founding colony. I love that. Vegan, don't worry, they'll tell you. Philip is composed, or sanity losses are half. That's pretty good. More health recovered while resting. Can work when health is low. And survivor, so loses less food without... So yeah, so they all have these bonuses, but we have no negatives now because we've weeded them all out. Specialization wise, it's not going to matter too much for now, but if you know that you're going to be having a lot of farms, and you might want to focus on bringing in a lot of farmers to start, a lot of botanists. If you know you're going to focus on research, bring more scientists. Officers are good in security jobs. I've never really used security in any of the games. I've only done one game, I should say. By the way, I've said that I've played this game and that I know vaguely what I'm doing. I am not an expert by a long stretch. There are a lot of mistakes that I will make playing this game.
But it will not last long. We need to make sure that they will be able to produce their own food on the Red Planet.
Yes, we do. The hydroponic farm... Oh, he's still going.
Although the colonists can take food directly from a food depot, they will be happier if they can pick it up from a grocery.
Obviously. So you don't want to go directly to a farm and just pick up a handful of wheat, do you? You want someone to package it for you. You want someone to price it up for you. You want to go to a shop and actually get some produce. So that's what the grocery is good for. Also, you can then have diners as well. So they actually have somewhere to go and eat the food prepared nicely. So we need to go to buildings. We need to build a hydroponic farm. Oof, lovely stuff. So you can see this is smaller than the living area and is a little 3 triangle size. So it doesn't fit in that corner there. We can rotate it obviously to fit in there. And you can fit 3 of these into each of these triangles and leave an extra space as well. There are some things, just like little trees and stuff you can put into the ones that are left behind. So we will pop this one down here. The grocer, I actually think, is one of the ones which is a single size. So you can see there are all sorts of things you can get here. So this is dome services. This is stuff that will make life better for the colonists. Space bars, where they drink, eat food, and their medical conditions can be treated in the infirmary. Gyms for health. Casinos if you've got gamblers. Security stations to stop people from stealing stuff. So all sorts of things that you can do. And the grocer, then, we will put this opposite one over here. And our passenger rocket is ready to land. Now, because it's a passenger rocket, it needs to be within walkable distance. You can see in the top right there, dome's in walkable distance 1. If we move it over here, it's still in walkable distance. There is a way of having it so it's not in walkable distance. We don't have the areas scanned to land the rocket there yet. So yes, different service. We kind of covered this just now, really, didn't we? Yeah. We didn't cover the comfort necessarily. If the comfort of the colonists falls too low, they may become Earthsick and decide to leave Mars and go back to Earth. However, Martian-born colonists, as in people who are born on Mars, will never get Earthsick. So yes, if you have people who are Earthsick, they will get on the next rocket and they will leave your colony. So again, we need to make sure that you put it too far away. Are far from operational domes. There we go. Just say no operational domes in walking distance. We need to make sure it isn't going to land anywhere where the dust is going to get on anything. So we'll pop it just there. And I do want to get this one. Oh, there we go. He comes in fast, doesn't he? Look at him come down. Look. Our first people landing on Mars. How cool is that? And once it's landed, this little ramp is going to open up. And here are our first colonists. Obviously, gravity is slightly less on Mars, which is why they have a little bit of a bouncing jump to them. Ba-doop, ba-doop, ba-doop. What's this about? Complaining about something already, whatever it is.
New colonists have arrived.
And then they will then run into the dome via these little hatches over here. Isn't it awesome? And then once they're inside, they take off their spacesuits because they don't need spacesuits. How cool is that? And you can zoom in surprisingly far, actually. And there we go. Those are our first colonists. Isn't that exciting? Isn't that exciting? So we have 12 people to start colonizing Mars. So they will automatically take jobs if they're available. So we should be able to see if we click on this. Yes. 3 people are working there. And the grocer, there are 2 people working. If they work at night, it affects their sanity. Says their workers will lose sanity if they work during the night shift. So can be good, but you may not want to. We have you can only have 1 shift in a farm. So you can turn off shifts. You can also change it so that people... Oops. There we go. So you can take people out of their jobs and you can block them off if you don't want the full roster done. But obviously we do want people working the full thing there. So you can change shifts or turn on certain shifts. So for example, if you had a lot of solar panels, you can stop farmers from working during certain periods to make sure your power levels are balanced. So a new beginning full of hope and determination. The first founders have set foot on the red planet. The next 10 sols will be full of difficulties and dangers, but also with great promises and opportunities. So yes, we have 10 days the colonists have to survive for. If they reach 10 days, you can then bring more people down to Mars. Before then, you can't. So we're in the founder stage, as it says. The other thing that can stop the founder stage is if they give birth, which is why I said having sexy people can be very good to start with. If you have sexy colonists and they give birth, the founder stage is immediately over and you can start bringing more people down to Mars. So it skips a good chunk of time. So it talked about making things more comfortable. So we can build a spacebar. A spacebar is big. Look at that, it's a full quadrant size. So we should pop that down there. I'm going to turn the grocer on all shifts. Because people want food all the time. So that guy's going to have a bit of a comfort or a bit of a sanity hit from that. But that's whatever, you know. You can also tell people to work hard, which again does inflict sanity and health penalties on the worker, but they will produce more crops. And you can do the same here. I don't know what working hard does to people in a grocer. They just really aggressively stack shelves, perhaps. So we're making a spacebar. Is there something else it wanted us to make? It mentioned an infirmary, didn't it? Maybe it's going to make us do that after the diner is done. The spacebar is done, even.
Great. Now that you have a spacebar, you can customize its work settings.
So our spacebar is built, and now it's going to tell us everything I just told you, basically. The more workers assigned to a building, the better it performs. Blah, 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 blah. We don't need as many people at the spacebar, so we can disable one of the shifts in each of those. I'm going to turn that one on. There we go. Wonderful. We can make them work hard during the day.
Working age are able to fill any position, but how well they perform at a certain position varies between colonists.
So I mentioned this as well. So scientists work in research labs, botanists. Are these any of these botanists, I wonder? He's a scientist officer. So we have 3 non-specialized people working in the farm, which is brilliant. So let's make a research lab. We'll pop this one behind the farm, I think. We should see some drones running over now with all of our materials. We've got lots of stuff at the moment. Let's send the rocket back. And if we do need some more stuff, it should be back on Earth ready for us. So the research lab has been built. Wonderful.
Shifts, among other things, are a way to manage your workforce. The more shifts a building has open, the more colonists it will attract to work there.
So again, we've already covered all of that, so we can stop that. So we can activate the second shift on the research lab. We have...
With higher priority will be allocated workers, power, and maintenance before others.
So on-site research is very important for long-term prosperity, so we're going to prioritize it. So we've seen this before. Just click that, and then people will work there before working in other places.
With the research lab up and running, let's begin researching some technologies.
We will. So yes, so you can see here we have got 3 vacant work slots, but no people unemployed. So wherever these... Oh, there are 3 people not working there. That's terrible. Let's turn off these night shifts that I put on because, yeah, that's bad. You need people working in the farm. You can't have people not working in the farm. Yeah. You need that food. So we've received some fun... Oh, because we must have had some rare metals for some reason. There must have been some rare metals on our... on one of these. So the rocket filled it with rare metals as well as fuel, and when it got back to Earth, we got some money for that. So we need to research some of these things. So we'll do this one just because it's already queued up. I'm not going to read too much into what each of them are because, you know, we'll get to that if and when we play the game. We will pick some things which are only 1,000 to research, though, because then we don't have to wait too long, hopefully. So what are we waiting for now? What is next? Oh, there we go. Perfect.
Provided everything needed for a successful founder stage.
So it takes 10 days, but if all of your colonists die, your mission will be terminated. Having a baby born on Mars before the end of this period will also complete the founder stage. This can happen if your colony comfort is very high. So you could do with...
Tutorial for the founder stage.
an infirmary and a few things like that, like I said. Founder stage takes 10 days, blah, blah, blah. For the Parasite tutorial, it's already been completed. Yay! So now we'll learn how to manage multiple domes. So you don't have to just have one dome. Of course you don't. You can have multiple domes. In this tutorial, you'll manage a larger colony that consists of multiple domes. I talked over this little thing, didn't I? As you expand your base and try to obtain various resources scattered across the map, you will inevitably end up with a colony that consists of several domes. This tutorial will introduce you to a lot of the typical situations you can expect. So the same map we're in as before, we've got an extra little colony up here though.
Can transport resources and colonists across great distances.
And shuttles are brilliant. The complex technology needed for shuttles flying in the thin Martian atmosphere typically must be researched. Researched? Researched. For the purposes of this tutorial, it's already been granted to you. Certain options at the beginning of the game, and you can pick a country, I believe. I think it's Japan, is it? Not too sure. Which already comes with this technology pre-researched, which is obviously super, super useful. So, as opposed to the drones that we have working for the drone hubs, the shuttle hub little drones, the little flying ones, they can go anywhere. They're not limited. So the drones here will fly down to here to pick stuff up or drop stuff off if it's needed. They will move people between the domes if it's needed. It's really, really useful. So we need to connect it to the power grid, which is not going to be where it is because it's a little bit, oh, not a switch, power cable. So we have an empty dome there. In this dome down here, we've got lots of living space. We've got 3 living complexes, which house 14 colonists each. We've got a farm.
We have operational shuttles. It's time to establish a mining dome.
Ooh, colonists can work in some outside buildings placed close to their domes, such as extractors for metals and rare metals. Since colonists will be needed for the extraction of these underground deposits, it is a good practice to place domes near such deposits. Yes, indeed. So when we placed the dome down before, it had that white area encapsulating it. If you want to include things like rare metals or research bonuses or metal deposits, it needs to be within that area. Otherwise, it's not going to happen. So rare metal extractor, we're going to pop it down there. It will need power again. So let's pop down a power cable. Like that. So the shuttle hub is done. So we've got 3 shuttles inside that that'll be fervently moving stuff back and forth as needed. I haven't seen any flying around yet, but when we do, we'll take a closer look at them, shall we? So what else have we got down here? We've got an infirmary, we've got a park, is that? No, I know, yes. Provide living space, yes, of course. I will. I want to look down, I want to finish looking at this dome first. So yes, we've got an alleys, a beautiful park which provides relaxation, exercise and play-in. What is that? A diner, we've got a big diner, got a grocer, and we've got a research lab. So yeah, so I think that works that they also don't work together. But that provides dining, social, and food. And that just provides food and shopping. So these are all comfort things. So if we go and click on the colonist, if we can find one. If we look at their comfort, it'll tell you this person is interested in relaxation and shopping. So if you do not have a relax area and a shopping area, so if you just had a grocer's and not this park or this here, that particular colonist would get a little bit unhappy. Their comfort would go down, which you don't want, obviously. And then there's their morale as well, look. Low morale renegade become renegades. They start stealing stuff, which you don't want. And sanity is recovered at home or by visiting certain service buildings, such as the medical center, I'm pretty sure. So, we need to build some living complexes in this dome here.
Provide basic services for the citizens of your new dome.
Yes, indeed. So in this case, we're going to provide them with a space bar. And we're going to provide them with a grocer. Just like that. And then, once they've got somewhere to live and once there's somewhere to work, and there's somewhere to work, there's this over here. Once that is all there, people will start. There's our first, let's slow it down. This is our first little shuttle drone. Our first little shuttle. She's going to go over to the dome over here. He's going to collect someone. You can't speed time up in this view. He's going to collect someone. And he's going to bring them back. So he's collected that colonist over there using his special teleport magic that apparently we've researched. we don't want to use for anything else. And he's going to drop them over on the entrance to the dome over here. And we have our first colonist that is now living in this complex.
You can set up filters for every dome to attract colonists with desired traits, and block or push out colonists with undesired ones.
Yes, indeed, you can. So this is very useful for many reasons, really.
This dome is best suited as a mining hub, so it's best to encourage geologists to migrate here.
Yes, because geologists have a bonus when they work in mining production. Or mining production? Doesn't make any sense. Mines, when they work in mines. Because we want to make sure the research dome gets all the scientists, we will ban scientists from inhabiting this dome. Similar to when you pick them on the resupply or the passenger rocket screen. If you say, I would like to have geologists, geologists will be prioritized going there, but you won't only get geologists. But if you say no scientists will go there. And if there are any scientists there at the moment, they will be immediately kicked out. So as I said, that can be useful for several reasons. One of the reasons that is very, very useful is you could say, for example, age group, I don't want children. So you can make a nursery dome. So you could say you don't want children in this dome, so they will be kicked out and they'll be forced to live in a nursery dome. Or with seniors who are too old to work, you can make a retirement dome where you just have, you know, living quarters and comfort facilities, and you can say that you don't want seniors living in domes where you have active jobs. Very clever, right?
For research purposes, so it's best to attract more colonists with the scientist specialization.
So basically the opposite to what we did before. So we want to go into specialization. We would love to see some scientists, and we definitely don't want geologists. So there were some geologists in there. That was up to like something of 3. Maybe 2 or 3, I suppose one of them already moved. They will now be kicked out and forced to move somewhere else.
When they are positioned close to one another. However, they cannot usually visit buildings in nearby domes on a daily basis unless they are connected to their own dome.
So what he's saying there is if you have somebody... If you built a dome here with just living complexes in here, you couldn't build a dome here and just fill it with, you know, jobs and services, because the people will not automatically walk across to go to those jobs or services. You have to connect the domes up. But, as I mentioned earlier in the video, that's all well and good, except there is a penalty for that. So if you have everyone living in this dome here and all the jobs in this dome here, and you connect them up, people will go to work in this dome, but there will be a negative penalty applied to the jobs in that area, which you might not necessarily want for obvious reasons. So you do have to be a little careful with it. Where's the easiest place to connect this? Over here. Nope, because there's a silly little rubbish pile in the way. Go from that one. So that's because, oh, there's loads of them there. I see. Right. I see. Okay, so. No, I'm thinking we don't really want that, actually. Because we're going to have to connect these together, and we're not going to want to do that. Where's the delete thing? I thought that was in the infrastructure one. Can I not delete that now? That's a little annoying. Okay, well, we'll go with it then. We'll go with it. We'll just have to be a bit careful that we make sure it goes sort of over here somewhere. And then we do need to connect it to power as well, of course. Power cables. So what you can see here, handy little tip, pipes and cables can exist in the same space. You do not have to have them next to each other. You can put a cable underneath a pipe. So over here we've got this pipe and cable run in the same space. Look, that's very, very useful. So we could have put our power cable going along this same pipe here, but we put it over there for some reason.
In the new dome. They will be used as workplaces for the colonists in the old dome once the domes are connected.
Which is all well and good, but as I said, those farms will then be producing less food than they would if people just lived in the same dome. So yes, you do have to be careful with this. Do have to be careful with it. And also, we don't have any, we have 3 unemployed people, but we have 3 jobs. And now we have 6 unemployed people, 6 jobs and 3 unemployed people. So to build the passage, it has to go into the dome. So you can put it anywhere inside the dome where there is space, but you have to be careful. It can't go along these edges here. It has to be a full tile. If I put it here and moved it across to like here, all of these spaces along the side are then entirely useless. So it's best to go from edge to edge. And that has now taken up that little space there. So we couldn't put, for example, a space bar or a living quarters in that segment anymore, because it wouldn't fit anymore. Same as in this one over here. So yes. And also, drones cannot go over the passage automatically. You have to create a passage ramp so that vehicles and drones can get over this here. If I said build something here, the drones would go around the domes to get to it, unless you build a ramp. So this is being constructed now. They've moved all the materials across so you can see it coming up. They are quite nice looking things. They do have windows if there's enough space on. You see the first segment is opaque, but they do have windows in the other segments, which is lovely. Apologies, my voice is going a little bit. So now the colonists will walk between the 2 of them. The passage will also connect the domes for the purposes of distributing power, water and oxygen. Wasn't actually aware of that, to be honest. That's very useful. So that's a good reason to have a passage, I suppose. But then if you put in a passage there, you may as well just connect some power and pipe work up there anyway, right?
Some buildings can have upgrades that can improve them in various ways.
All upgrades become available after specific technologies are researched and have construction costs. Furthermore, some upgrades will increase the resource consumption of the building, as in its maintenance. It can be, I think, impacted. Or it could say if you upgraded the fuel extractor, it might then start using more power and water. So the upgrades are good, but you have to be careful. So we're going to upgrade the extractor amplification, which increases the power production by 25%, but also increases the power production by 10 power. That's quite a lot of power. So if we take a look at our rare metals extractor, it currently uses 5 power, and it produces 2.2 rare metals per sol. So if we amplify it, that means it'll produce about 2.7, 2.8 production per sol, but it will cost 15 power, which we've got lots of power at the moment, but if you're in a situation where power isn't that readily available, that can be a problem, So the research is ticking up nicely, 80%. How is everything else going over here? It's all very dusty. See, it all gets very sort of dusty and covered with all this Martian grime, which I love.
With the research complete, a new upgrade for your extractors is now available. It is not automatically
No.
buildings. You must construct it first.
So it wants us to do it to the water extractor. So you can see here we have this upgrade option. Excuse me. So it ups production by 25%, so we'll be producing 5 water rather than 4. Plus 10 to power, so we're taking 15 rather than 5, and it will cost 2 polymers to upgrade it. So the little drones will bring across the polymers to do that, and then it'll be done. And there's the second one. Oof, done. Look at that. So you can turn it off. So if you are having power problems, we could turn the application off. But let's just leave it on for now, seeing as it made it for us, didn't it?
The command center is a treasure trove of information about the colony.
It offers historical data for various colony metrics, as well as overviews of domes, buildings, colonists, and transportation. So we had a quick look earlier. I haven't been looking over here at all, really, because it's not really important for the tutorials. You can see there's been a crop failure, because there's only one person working there, because they probably started working there after the first sort of harvest period started. That produced no food for its first crop. You can produce different crops as well, which have different costs and benefits associated with them. Some of them improve the soil, some of them damage the soil. Lots of stuff to take a look at and manage sensibly. So this is the command center. We've kind of seen it a little bit before. This is the number of colonists we've got. We've had a birth. Look, we had a birth on the 3rd day. Look at that. unemployed and homeless, so there's been nobody homeless, and our unemployment rate has gone down drastically. You can see there's so much stuff you can look at for this. These things here are all to do with the terraforming, so obviously nothing has happened there with us. Waste rock, ramping up. Waste rock is the bane of my life. And all sorts of things. Buildings, you can see building production and what it's costing, where the maintenance is going, where the people are employed. There's a lot of very useful stuff in here. The domes and how many people there are there, what their average sanity is. So you can see if there's a dome which is particularly miserable for some reason. You get the colonists, the drone hubs. There's the colonists. You can see you can organize it by the, their sanity. So you can see which ones are being particularly affected by something. Yes, lots and lots of stuff to see. Life support grids. So we have 2 grids. And you can see there what each of those grids is producing and what they're using as well. What the changes are that over the last day, is it, I guess? And then building colors. You can change the color. Can we not rotate that? No. So this changes the rocket. Let's go with a nice rainforest green, shall we? I don't know if it changes any other buildings or if it's just the rocket. Does stuff look different? I think stuff looks different, doesn't it? I'm pretty sure it does. And there we go. We have graduated from the International Mars Mission Training Simulation. The team at Mission Control is eager to meet you and serve under your command. The challenge of conquering Mars for the sake of humankind is still a tough one, but with a commander as skillful and resourceful as you, the task seems a bit easier now. The colonization of Mars awaits. So there we go. That is the tutorial section of Surviving Mars. As I said, we'll probably leave it there because I feel like we've been going a while. It's hard to tell because I stopped and started the recording a little bit, so I don't know the exact amount of time we've been going, but it's been a little while. So what we'll do very quickly, we'll just look at the new game options so you can get a feel for it. So the mission sponsor, the person that actually sort of sponsors your enterprise, they always have various options. So they have different fundings, different difficulties, number of colonists who will be available to you to start with, the research they provide, the what they pay for rare metals, which could obviously be super important. Someone pays a bit more or a bit less, that can have a huge impact on the money you can make. And you can see here, like for example, Japan has the Wasp drones. They have faster flying drones. So that isn't the shuttle drones, but their drones, the standard drones, are slightly different. They have an automatic metals extractor, so a metals extractor that doesn't require a workforce. And then, yes, all sorts of ones over here. So Europe, an RC commander that works as a sensory tower when stationary. That could be really useful for the early game. Low G Lab, a research building that is built outside domes and reduces the cost of biotech and physics techs. I see. Ooh, that could be quite useful, I suppose. Just 5 extra starting technology, so you'll just be given extra research to start with. So yes, there's all sorts of things you can do there. Or you can be brave and hit random. And you can see here that the difficulties go up to hard as well. Or you got nice easy ones like increased rocket payload so they can carry more. Advanced Starling generator so it generates power and can protect from cold waves. Colonists never get airsick so they'll never leave. Food supply from passenger rockets is increased by 10. Rockets synthesize fuel. And start with a self-sufficient dome prefab. So lots of like really, that's a very easy, it's the only very easy one, but lots of very useful stuff there. There is a commander profile, so you can pick something here and get some other little bonuses. So you could be a futurist, so breakthrough techs are researched faster. It is here the rocket scientist, which starts with the shuttle hub and long-range transportation, which can be super, super useful. Also, you get an extra rocket, so you can have multiple resupply rockets or passenger rockets, ferrying things and people back and forth. And then the rest of it's kind of like silly things. So you can pick a logo. Ooh. All these sorts of logos here. You can pick an alien one. You can pick a one specific to the country you have picked, or the sponsor, I should say. You can pick a slightly Douglas Adams looking one. All sorts of things, yes. And then what we've got here, the mystery. You have mysteries as well. So this isn't something we saw in the tutorials, but this is something which will happen during your playthrough, and various things will occur. Ooh, he says. So I don't want to go into too many details, but I mean, the one I wouldn't do, Power of 3, is one I did in the mission that I have ongoing. In fact, I might show you that map before we finish up. So yeah, so for that one there, weird little black cubes started appearing on the map, and then one blew up one of the concrete extractors I had. And you had a choice whether to leave them, to move them around, or you could destroy them. And you don't know what the outcome of that's going to be. So I chose to generally leave them, and I moved a few around where I needed to because they started getting very annoying and getting in the way a bit. But I didn't destroy them, and it turned out that it was some previous civilization that had set these cubes to start appearing when Mars was being colonized by another civilization, and it gave me a bonus for not destroying them, so yes. But the rest of them, though, I don't know what they do, so they could be very, very interesting. Rival colonies, up to 3 more colonies who will also be on Mars, and they'll compete for milestones and planetary anomalies. So there are, as well as the anomalies you can scan with the RC drone, you can also have planetary anomalies. So on a planet's map, you can send a rocket out to scan anomalies or do various things. And other colonies can do those same anomalies. So if you see someone starting to do something, you can jump ahead and try and get there before them. Same with the milestones. So a milestone might be like have 100 colonists on Mars and you get 4,000 research for doing it or something like that. So you want to get there first, so you'll get a slight little heads up if they're starting to get towards that milestone, and you can try to beat them to it, which can be very useful in terms of research. And then game rules, so you can set specific things if you wanted to have certain other little bonuses as well. The first universal depot you place will automatically fill with resources each sol. Achievements are disabled. Achievements will be disabled for all of these, I guess. You can also say no terraformers, so it just disables the terraforming option. So if you just want to have an old school game like the game was when it was released, you could pick that. Obviously you don't want to really probably do those until you've got quite a good handle on how the game works. So yeah, I'm just going to load up my existing game. As you can see, it's been going for 135 days. I'm a rocket scientist and my mission sponsor is the USA. So we'll take a quick look. It's probably, if you're someone who's played Surviving Mars, you'll probably look at it and go, that's a disaster. What the hell is going on here? But this was my first, like, proper full playthrough. I did one when I was on the Xbox, the Xbox PC game store version of the game, because I couldn't find a way of getting the saves across. So I think I deleted the Xbox one, so I just started another one. So I knew slightly more what I was doing. So this is where I started off down here. So this is that thing that I said, the power of 3, the black cubes. It produced this weird thing here. So we've got lots of domes. We've got these little things here. They're research bonuses. So domes which are in range of these give you a research bonus. So I've got almost 3,000 research coming in every day. You see there's all sorts of things. There's these arcologies. So this is a water reclamation one. So the water usage within the dome is reduced on the first and second shifts, not during the night. These are farmers that produce food. We've got farms over here. You can see no one actually lives in this one. This is where I used passages to get the workers in here. And I didn't know at the time that they would have reduced yields, but yes, they do. But yes, we've got a little farming dome. We've got one of these other little weird sort of rectangular domes with smart complexes, which are better for people. That's a factory. So there's all sorts of things going on there. Got a few shuttle hubs to ferry things across. Some of these large concrete storage depots because we had so much concrete. All of this waste rock. What the hell am I going to do with that waste rock? This is our power generation area, look. So we've got loads of solar panels and wind farms and these big wind turbines as well at the back you can see there. Yeah, so that's generating huge amounts of power. How much power is it generating? 791 power it's generating. Some water production over here. So these things are making each other very dirty because they're all within this white boundary, but is what it is. And they are producing some water because obviously I had a bit of a water issue at some point. Yeah, we are using that. So how much has that got left in it then? Or loads. It's a huge deep water one. You can see we've got all these rockets going on as well, which look slightly different. Don't know why they look different. Another dome up here as well, which I think was our first one. There were some rare metals deposits, which is why this cable is up here, because that was to get the extractors working. This is a this is a playground, sorry, that's a nursery. So that's specifically for children to live in. Children only will live in this. And as I said, you can make a nursery only dome. So you can build a dome and just put nurseries and playgrounds in it and force children to live there. and they won't then take up space like they do in this dome here, where, you know, there are 2 children in there. If that wasn't there, I could put something else there, and some of these people who are actually living here could work in those places. You can see we've scanned huge amounts of the map, and there's still some scanning going on. There's all of these things, these planetary anomalies, rare metals. There's lots and lots of stuff around us. And then there's a secondary area I built up here. So why did I build this one here, I wonder? Oh, I built this one here because I wanted to connect it up down there. Why did I go there first? I don't remember now. For some reason I built one up here first. Doesn't seem to be anything within range of this. So I'm not sure why I built that there first, but then I connected that tunnel. I built a tunnel here. So tunnels are kind of like the passages between domes, where a tunnel will take power and water and oxygen along the tunnel. So over here I do have some power production, but it is also fed from that area over there as well. We have 2 domes here. Sorry, a bit of a cough. 2 domes here, which have some factories in, or some mega mall, sorry, and apartments. That's just a living one. People just live there. And we have this huge archaeology here, which is filled with people as well, 32 people. And then that's connected to this one, which is where the actual work stuff is. So we've got a couple of factories, we've got lots of farms, so the people have to move between those to actually get there to work. So yeah, so that is, or there's a couple of rare metals extractors there. That's just within range of the dome look, so that's also doing a bit of mining for us, that one there. So yes, there we go. That is what a in-progress game is. 135 sol days. I don't know if it tells you anywhere how long the actual... Oh, 12 hours. 12 hours that is. So that is what a game of 12 hours looks like. So if this was a series, this would probably be around, I'd guess around sort of 15 videos worth. And this is where I'd get. I would hope that if I did start a new map on a new series, that it would be slightly better, as I'd know a little bit more what I'm doing. As I said, this was very early on, and I'm sure a lot of you are looking at it and going, I can see a lot of mistakes you made there, mate. For starters, all this waste rock just right in the middle, just taking up a lot of space. Oh, this here, landing pad, so you can land a rocket on that, and it won't have any dust and won't affect anything around it. So landing pads are very, very useful to have. So yes, there you go. That is what an in-progress game can look like if you're not very good at the game. So, as I said at the beginning of the video, based on the views and the likes and the comments, I will look at that compared to what Frostpunk looks like, and that will determine which of these will become a series going forward. I would love to do both of them, but I can only do one at a time. I only have so much space on the channel. I can only record so many videos a week. I've got 4 colonists that are sick. Look at that. As I said, so if I landed a rocket now, those 4 colonists, assuming they were near that rocket, would immediately run to that rocket, get on it, and wait for it to take off. Oh, you can see all the black cubes down here. Look. So yeah, so the black cubes started spawning in all these places. This is the power of 3 thing, and you can create a specific black cube storage area, which I started doing, but it honestly, they only hold 81, and there's 27 in each of these, so... yeah, very frustrating, and it started taking up all this space where I wanted to do stuff, and it was all very annoying. But in the end, it was all good for us, so yay. So you can see at night we have minus 74 power, and all this is where our giant batteries come into play then, so all the solar panels close down, but the batteries hold quite a lot, so they take over for the night, so everything still ticks along. So yes, based on the comments, the likes, all that, we will go forward with either Frostpunk or Surviving Mars. I am looking forward to playing one of them. Surviving Mars, as you can see, I've played a bit of already, but I'd love to start a new map, show you guys. We can go through it, we can have some little discussions in the comments after each video, and you can say how you'd want me to move forward, what you think I should do, how I should focus the game. Or with Frostpunk, we can do similar things with the horrible, horrible laws. We can decide how we're going to screw over the people, but we're trying to save them at the same time, so it's all good, right? It's all good. So yes, so if you enjoyed this, click the like button. If you'd like to see more, do click the like button, and do leave me a comment as well. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, of course. And as I said, comments, questions, leave them down below. I'll get back to you as soon as I see them. It does take me a few days these days, but I will honestly get back to you. I do try to respond to every worthwhile comment. And by worthwhile, I mean if someone just puts up like, you know, a single word, I might not reply to that comment. But if you have an actual point to make or an actual question, I will definitely get back to you. As it said, it might take a few days though. Don't forget I do stream on Wednesdays and it'd just be lovely to see you there. Otherwise, I will see you next time in either Frostpunk or Surviving Mars. And as always, thank you very much for joining me.